Hello, everyone, and welcome to the month of March. I cannot believe that we're already in March. It seems as though 2026 is breezing by, but we have to always remember to take it slow. Even though the days and the hours are going fast, take it slow, take a deep breath, and focus on you and your why and what's going on in your life. So, since you're here, I am Shanika. I am the proud host of the She Reigns podcast, and we are here for another edition for the month of March. It is March the 1st, 2026. Wow. We're here. We got here fast. And so I'm getting my notes together. Before we dig right in, I want you all to remember that I do have a free downloadable journal for you. Grab that, download it, jot down your thoughts each week. You have journal pages of blank for you to write down your thoughts about what we talked about. But grab it. It's yours and it's free. And I made it for you. So today is all about celebrating women's history and our stories. So the month of March is dedicated to International Women's Day. And we have to pause for a moment because in history, we we should know of some powerful women that have changed the shape of not only the world, but also, let's bring it closer to home, those that have changed the shape of your life. Okay, so let's stop, think on those women who have touched you, reflect on those people, and make sure that we honor them. But I also want you to think about in your local community, in your daily lives. Think about those women who help shape history. They may not go down in a history book. They may not be on the World Wide Web, but you have some women in your lives that have touched you and that have made a difference. And if it wasn't for them, you might not be where you are, right? So let's stop and think about the generational strength that comes from women's history. I often share with my husband that I feel blessed because I was able to know both of my great grandparents um on my mother's side. So I knew my grandmother's mother and my grandfather's mother. So I had the blessing of knowing two great grandparents. And at my age, most people cannot say that. So I was able to see how they operated. I was able to learn from them. Although I was younger, I was still able to see who they were, because think about it, that's a lot of history, to see a great grandparent and the things that they have gone through. And that has helped shape me, not only my great grandparents, and my grandparents as well. So and I come from a strong line of women, and they have been able to help shape my life tremendously. Okay, whether it be I fall in their path or I just picked up what was going down. I learned a lot from them. I'll give one example. My aunt, I'm not going to share her name, but this aunt of mine, she was always dolled up every Sunday. She always had her rings, her earrings, her heels, and that's how I learned how to walk in high heels from my aunt. Okay, so she may not be in a book, years down the line, but she made an impression upon me and in my life. And so we have to be sure that we honor those that came before us and how they helped shape us to be who we are, and still be able to pick from that and apply it to our lives and how well we want to be. Now, looking at my notes. So we also must be sure that we give ourselves permission to grow, even if our beginnings were not perfect. And perfect, what's perfect? Nobody's perfect, but we should not be afraid to do something because it hadn't been done before. We should not be afraid to do something just because it has not been done before by someone we saw in our family, by a woman in our family. Don't be afraid. It's okay to grow and do something that's different from the status quo. If you keep yourself in a box and you stay in those four corners, Will you ever know what is on the outside of that box? No, you won't. So we have to be able to get out of fear and not let fear keep us stuck. Now, I'm not saying to not have a healthy fear. You know, a healthy fear is making sure you're aware of your surroundings and you know what's going on around you at all times. But what I'm saying is being afraid to try something new. If we've never tried it before, then how will we know that it's something we can or something we can't do? You won't. So give yourself permission to grow. So even if you did not grow up around women who were strong, who were successful, who had it going on, they were bosses or whatever, don't say that you can't grow to become that. Just because you haven't seen it with your eyes does not mean that you cannot do it. And by you doing that, you're helping somebody that's watching you from the sidelines, somebody behind you. And they say, oh, well, if she can do it, then I can do it too. So give yourself permission to grow. I think it's very important for us to realize that our parents did the best that they could with what they had, however that looks. But we also have to be able to say, well, that part wasn't so good. And it's okay to acknowledge that they might have messed up here. Okay, acknowledge that fact and then change it for yourself. Let's not get stuck on doing the same thing that our parents did or our grandparents did, because that is not always the best solution for things. And that's how we sometimes become stuck and stay exactly where we are. Now, for my women of faith, we have to remember who God says that you are. We were created in his very own image. He loves us. He cares for us. And I said earlier, he's given us each a gift. If you don't know your gift, read your Bible, study your Bible, pray about it, ask for clarity, because he knows who we are. We are wonderful. We're powerful. Okay? Don't let that shrink in your life. Remember who he says that you are. We have to make sure we practice gratitude toward our unsung heroes, those women in our lives. Like I said, they may not be in the history book, they may not be on the World Wide Web, but we have to show them gratitude. And also, we have to be sure to extend grace. Extend grace to people, because they may have been this back in the day and they may not be that now, but they were still a person that you looked up to and somebody helped to lead you and guide you along the way. So be sure to extend grace and gratitude. And I want you to make sure that you honor yourself as a woman making history right now. Honor who you are. And we sometimes get caught up in the hype of thinking we have to do this and have to. We don't have to do all of those things to honor the woman that we are and who we are becoming. Remember, we talked about becoming her. Be your her. Honor yourself. Love yourself. Okay? Be graceful with yourself, because we all mess up. We all have issues and problems, right? But let's make sure that we extend grace to ourselves and honor ourselves in as we become the woman we want to be. Okay? So this is Women's History Month International, and I want us to remember to focus on the women who have shaped us. Make sure we reclaim our story and remind ourselves that our voice matters. Your voice matters. Now, I'm not saying go out here and act a fool, okay? What I'm saying is your voice matters when you're talking like you have some sense, okay? When we're talking and we're walking the way that we should, our voice matters. Remember that. So, before I leave, I want you all to make sure to know that you can email me at sherainspodcast@gmail.com if you want to ask a question, if you want to become a guest on my podcast, or just share some insight. Be sure to do that. Every week, we talk about our weekly crown wins, so please share a win that you had for the week. Remember, take a breath, say a prayer, adjust your crown, because you're built for the chaos. See you soon.